Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert with extensive experience in modern hospitality operations and performance support. I am so pleased to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. We really look forward to supporting your professional growth in this incredible industry. Now today, we're diving into something that is the absolute backbone of hotel safety, emergency management, and specifically why coordinated teamwork is the most powerful tool you have in any response. This really gets to the very heart of it. In a crisis, yeah, individual heroics are great, but they just can't replace a team that is perfectly in sync. Coordination isn't just, a nice-to-have part of the response. It is the single factor that often draws the line between a controlled situation and a complete catastrophe. So let's break down exactly how it all works. So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to follow the timeline of a typical incident, all the way from the very first alert to the final lessons we can learn from it. This way, you'll see how that seamless coordination is built and maintained every single step of the way.
All right, so why is this so critical? Why is it non-negotiable? Well, it's because when teamwork breaks down, the entire response just falls apart with it. When actions aren't coordinated, you get teams accidentally doing the same job, you get critical tasks that are delayed, or even worse, you get teams working against each other without even realizing it. And that doesn't just slow things down, it can actively make a really bad situation much, much worse. Every single emergency response has a starting point, right? A ground zero. And in a hotel, that's almost always the front desk. Think about it. Whether it's a guest calling down in a panic, an alarm panel lighting up, or an urgent call coming in, reception is the hub. That central role makes their immediate actions absolutely pivotal to everything that follows. Now, let's zoom in on that initial moment, that flashpoint. The first 90 seconds of any incident can really set the tone for the entire response. And because of that, an incredible amount of responsibility falls squarely on the shoulders of that front desk team. Just look at the sequence. This isn't some leisurely checklist you go through. This is a rapid-fire series of actions that have to happen in a very specific order, and often in less than 2 minutes. You call for help, you alert the entire building, you inform leadership, and you activate your own response team. It's a cascade of communication that absolutely has to be flawless. And this is a perfect illustration of why protocols are so important. When you're under immense pressure, the last thing you want is your team guessing, who do I call first? A clear, well-practiced contact hierarchy completely removes that guesswork. It replaces potential panic with a confident, structured, and most importantly, a swift initial response. So that first alert from reception, it's like a stone thrown into a pond. It starts with one small action, but it creates ripples that spread throughout the entire property. Now we're going to look at how that single notification mobilizes a whole network of internal departments into one single cohesive response unit. What's really fascinating here is how all these different roles have to work in perfect concert. You've got security, they're on the ground leading the tactical response. Engineering is managing the building's systems, the guts of the hotel. Housekeeping is focused on guest movement and safety. And management is there making the high-level strategic decisions. And what's connecting all these vital players? Reception. They're acting as that central communications switchboard. If these teams are the organs of the response, then shared information is the lifeblood that keeps them all working. Think about it. If engineering has to shut down power to a floor to help the firefighters, housekeeping needs to know that immediately. Why? So they don't send staff into a dark and potentially unsafe area. It's that constant, clear communication that prevents these dangerous gaps from forming. Of course, the response doesn't just stop at the hotel's front door. The next critical phase of coordination is all about seamlessly integrating professional first responders and other external agencies into your operation. It's about building that bridge to outside help. And the list of potential partners is long, and it can be really varied depending on the type of crisis you're facing. But the key here, and this is so important, is that the first time you speak with the local fire chief should not be when the building is on fire. Having those relationships pre-established is absolutely essential for smooth collaboration when it matters most. This is all about being proactive. We're talking about simple things, really. Things like giving the local fire department updated floor plans and access maps, or even conducting joint drills together. Little things like that can save precious minutes during a real emergency because it builds a foundation of familiarity and trust long before you ever need it. So, this is the big question, isn't it? Okay, we've got all these different groups, all with different jobs, all needing to work together under extreme stress. How in the world do you actually make that happen and prevent it from turning into total chaos?
Well, the answer lies in what we call the tools of teamwork. And when I say tools, I'm talking about two things: all the preparatory work you do long before an incident ever occurs, and the technology you use during one.
Let's just contrast these two approaches for a second. A prepared hotel has teams that know each other, they've practiced together, they've already worked out the kinks in their communication plan. An unprepared hotel, on the other hand, is trying to build those relationships for the very first time in the middle of a crisis. The difference in the outcome is, well, it's predictable and it's profound. And look, technology can be a massive force multiplier here. It can give you instant communication and a shared real-time view of the situation. But, and this is a big but, it's critical to remember that these are just tools. The most advanced notification system in the world is completely useless if the staff aren't trained and confident in using it before the crisis hits.
Okay, so the immediate danger is over. Now we enter the final, and I would argue perhaps the most important phase. The work of coordination isn't done yet. The goal now is to learn, to adapt, and to become even stronger for the next time. A comprehensive debrief after any incident is completely non-negotiable. This is where everyone involved, I'm talking from the front desk agent all the way to the fire chief, comes together to honestly assess the response. What went right? Where did we hit friction points? How can we make the information flow even better next time?
And this is the ultimate objective of that entire debrief process. It's about taking the raw, stressful experience of a real event, or even just a drill, and methodically transforming it into refined, collective expertise. This cycle of action and reflection, that is what builds a truly resilient organization.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to really chew on. Is your team just trained, or are they truly prepared? See, training is about knowing the checklist. But preparation is about understanding the connections behind the checklist. It's the difference between just knowing your role and knowing how your role fits into the entire coordinated response. And in our industry, that difference is everything.